104 of the Gaming Death Podcast. I'm your host, Chris. With me tonight, we have Kaleb.
Hey.
And making his triumphant return, Mr. Hollow Blade.
He's not in the house today, but there's someone there to replace him.
Do we have fake Hollow?
We have fake Hollow?
This is the China counterfeit version that you get off eBay for $4.
Oh, so you're Korean.
35 cents.
Oh, so
he likes
Korean.
Persona, but he can't say anything thoughtful about it other than that he likes it. He doesn't have those kinds of things in him yet. He's just base level Hollow.
It's cheap and it's plasticky, but it's fine.
But it's Hollow. You got to give him that.
Hollow. Yeah. We've missed you, buddy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Me too.
So is everybody else. So can
you missed yourself.
Can you just clear the air, because we've gotten probably about 60 emails.
That's not true.
No, completely honest. We've probably gotten about 60 emails since you've been gone, who people thought that we've had a giant falling out, like you weren't talking to me and Kaleb.
No.
I've brought this up on past episodes as well since you've been gone.
It's definitely, I hate you guys. I never want to talk to you again, especially you, Kaleb. You have big eyes.
I can understand that. I wouldn't want to talk to me either.
Yeah, those eyes, it's too much.
Just too much.
Yeah. No, there is no falling out. Why would there be a falling out? Who's falling?
Nobody. That just everybody assumes when somebody is gone for long periods of times. We were letting people know that you weren't feeling well and you were dealing with, shit that happens in regular life. And that, there was no falling out. Just everybody was like, oh, they're fighting. Oh, what the fuck happened between you and Hollow Blade? What the fuck happened between Kaleb and Hollow? Well, why aren't you guys talking? And I tried on the podcast to be like, no, we talk to Hollow every day via text message.
Who's talking to me every day?
We talk to you every day.
Sometimes Hollow talks back, but we talk to him every day.
We do talk at him every day.
It's a little bit true. I respond most days.
Hollow reminds me of my dog. Sometimes he talks back and sometimes he doesn't.
There are times where there's something in the backyard, so I have to bark at it and chase it.
Is your dog talking back, like just howling at you while you're talking to it?
It's actually talking.
Oh, like literally talking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it tells me to go kill women with a 44 caliber gun.
Oh my
gosh. With a 44 caliber love letter. Straight from my heart.
Wow.
Kaleb? No?
Yeah, what's up? 44 caliber love letter straight to my heart?
Yeah.
I should know that, but I don't.
Come on, Kaleb. I figured you would.
Is it plus 44?
What? I don't know what that is. No.
Okay, no, forget it. I fucked it.
So what's going on, guys? How are you all doing?
Persona 5 is finally out.
Yeah, Persona 5 is finally out. We are going to talk about it.
Persona 5 is finally out.
I think Persona 5 is out, and we should just get to the point and talk about the most important piece of news that's probably going to be the entire year. Just all of 2017, maybe 2018 too.
Persona 5 is the most important thing going on this year, I'm going to be honest.
It's really good. But before we jump into Persona 5, we do have a little bit of other things that we do need to talk about.
Yes, that need to be addressed. So really briefly...
Such as the Shovel Knight expansion that came out.
Yeah. Yacht Club Games were nice enough to give us a review copy to kind of play around a bit with it on PC to give some insight into how we feel, since we're obsessed with Shovel Knight, in case you guys couldn't tell. And really briefly, just wanted to fill you in. I played through it about halfway. I got about halfway through it last night, and I'm actually playing it right now. It's really good. It's really different. And I was talking to Chris about this just before the podcast started. So for those of you who've played the Shovel Knight games and who played the expansion, which is Plague of Torment? No, wait. What was the expansion, the Spectre Knight one called? Or the Plague Knight one called?
I don't know, it's the Plague Knight expansion.
Okay, it was the Plague Knight expansion, it was pretty sweet. Plague Knight plays very different, but you're going through the same levels and they still like the world map and everything. Spectre Knight is entirely different, to the point that I don't even know how to really explain it in terms of a platformer, because I've never seen a platformer play like this. It's very unique in its mechanics. And the whole game is totally different as far as like how it flows and everything. So you have a hub world which you start out in. You don't go to a world map. You just teleport right to levels from like a list, which is fine. We've gone through the world map twice. It's fine to get rid of it at this point. But you go to these levels, and it takes place before the story of Shovel Knight. So you're actually Plague Knight, who is trying to beat the other knights of No Quarter in order to gain them as allies to help the Enchantress. For those who played, and it's really different in every way. All the levels are entirely remade, everywhere from 50% to 100%, depending on the level. Like entirely new tile sets, entirely new mechanics. It's kind of insane what kind of work they basically remade an entire game. Whereas like the Plague Knight one was basically remaking half the game. They did everything all over again. And so really quick, just to touch on the mechanics. You have just a single jump and a single slash with your Reaper, your Scythe. If you touch a wall, you will actually run up the wall for a short while and then jump off entirely automatically. Okay. Unless you hit the top of the wall, in which case you'll jump onto the top of the wall. And while you're in midair, you can swipe into enemies and gain momentum doing that. Like if you're moving towards an enemy and it's below you, you will swipe at a downward angle forward, or if it's above you, you'll swipe at an upward angle forward. And it does it like automatically. It's like, well, you literally just press the button and you're flying across the screen, which is fun. It's very difficult to get a hold of, especially when you're automatically climbing walls you don't intend to. You just move entirely differently. And so I've killed myself quite a few times on accident here just trying to get the basics down, but it's still an amazing game. Like, anyone who has Shovel Knight already needs to play this as well as the Plague Knight expansion. I would say I wouldn't be upset if people didn't like it just because it is so different, but they should give it a chance. Just because it's so interesting to see somebody doing so different with a type of game that's like 30 years old. You know, no one's really making new headway into platformer mechanics. Now,
Plague Knight was free, and this is what, $15?
Yes. I want to say if you bought Shovel Knight in the beginning, it's free.
I thought this one wasn't free, even if you bought Shovel Knight.
I think this one isn't free if you're. I know that some people have to pay for this, but I think it's not free if you like haven't bought Shovel Knight yet, or if you're buying it again on another console, because it's also releasing for Switch.
Right.
And I don't remember exactly, but it's definitely worth trying out. It's just something really new and unique. It has much more of a story focus than the other Shovel Knight playthroughs, which is fun because Plague Knight has actually a really interesting kind of fucked up story. So yeah, give it a try. And I think that's about it for non-Persona talk.
Non-Persona talk. Do you want to touch on any of the Nintendo stuff really quick?
Like the fact that they're discontinuing the NES Classic as of April.
Yeah.
But
they announced 6 new amiibos, 9 if you consider that Cloud, Corn, and Bayonetta each get 2.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw the amiibos, and it doesn't really make me happy. Doesn't really make me feel better about no NES Classic.
Dawn's pissed about it too.
Yeah, so they were. I mean, so they had they didn't have enough copies to meet demand to begin with, and now they've just decided that even though it's still selling really well, they're just done with it. I've heard some really interesting theories, like they're getting ready for the SNES Classic that they're going to launch this Christmas, and they're trying to temper. Well, they're trying to maintain demand as much as they can to kind of carry on to that next one. I'm not really sure what the plan is or why they're doing what they're doing. I don't know anymore. I don't even know what to say about what Nintendo's doing. That's all I have to say.
Okay, let's talk about Persona 5.
Let's talk about Persona 5. Hollow, you want to start us out?
Hollow, let's have you start us out, buddy.
All right, so we're going to discuss Persona 5. I hope everyone's mentally prepared to discuss the best game ever made. Okay, it's not the best game ever made.
Oh, quick note before we start. Sorry, Hollow.
About the best game ever made? Okay, go
Yeah, well, I was gonna say, are we allowed to talk about spoilers during this?
We're only
I
gonna
know that-
we're only gonna spoil up to the end. We can only spoil up to the end of the first palace.
Okay.
Because
I wanted to be sure because
Atlas-
there's stuff I
Alright,
want to talk about, but I don't want to ruin it.
No, stop. We can discuss mechanics. Let's not discuss any story elements. For the sake of anyone who hasn't picked it up yet, it would be crushing for you to have this game spoiled, even just a little bit of the story. Let's try to keep the story under some fog, at least.
Yes.
In my opinion.
That's why I said the end of the first palace isn't too bad.
I think it's still enough that like it would ruin it for someone. Like I'd be pissed if I listened to that.
Well, that's why I was giving the warning now that we might spoil up to the end of the first palace.
I'll try to stick away from the story myself, although there were some things I wanted to talk about. But yeah, that's fine for a ground
because
rule.
I really want to talk about a certain character that I can't stand.
All right, fine. Okay, fine. So we will spoil up to the first palace, or can we?
so I was going to say, why don't we hold that off for the end, and we'll talk about everything else about the game leading up to that.
Okay, so let's start. Okay, sounds good. So, first off, for me, Persona 4, one of the best features was definitely the music. This Persona 4 probably has my favorite. Yeah, no, it definitely does have my favorite soundtrack of all time for any game. It's just it's just flawless. It fits perfectly into every scene, perfectly into every character and whatnot. It works. Persona 5, when I booted it up, I was like, it's not bad, but it's not Persona 4 music. But then it was okay. After a while, like you kind of just start understanding it and like accepting that it's not Persona 4, it's Persona 5. So it's all good. It was it still has a killer soundtrack. The vocals are a little weird. I don't know if you guys have listened to some of the wordings on the songs. They're a little weird.
I haven't been able to make out a ton, but it seemed like jazz music. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an acid jazz. It's super relaxing. Good shit. I don't know.
I love the music.
Yeah, music is fantastic. Yeah, in my mind.
Like that's the one thing is like you were complaining about the music on the first day when we were kind of chatting about the music a little bit, and I was like, it's not as good as Persona 4, but it fits the tone of the game just as well as Persona 4's soundtrack fit P4.
It does. Yeah, it definitely does. So I after the first palace, it's not story related, but it's like you get more vocals in the music basically, and it's still pretty fucking cool. It's good shit. It's fine. It's fine, as Kaleb would like to say. It's fine.
Is it though?
It is. It's fine.
Okay.
What else? The gameplay. My one problem I have with the game is that it. Granted, this is kind of what I wanted. Excuse me. So it's kind of douchey of me to say, like, how dare they? But like, it feels too much like Persona 4. It feels like they copy and pasted too much. But that's what I wanted. I strictly remember saying, like, I'd be totally fine if they just did Persona 4 again with a different story.
I do remember that.
I did say that. So I was like, well, I did ask for this technically, so I might as well take it, right? I don't know.
I feel that it's harkens back very much to P4, but it's just very much more refined.
Yeah, I was gonna say, and this is the thing that's really exciting about playing through it for me. Just in general, it feels like Persona 4 is an amazing game. It's definitely in my top 10. But it's really interesting to see a team make a game as good as Persona 4 and then say, hey, let's do it one more time since we're all so good at this and let's just really kill it. And that's really what Persona 5 feels like. It's similar. It's a very similar style, but at the same time, everything is just ratcheted up to like 11 as far as how stylish it is and just how beautiful it is and how great the music is. And I don't know of any other too many games that really reach this level of like production quality. It's kind of insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
The art style, the I don't know, the graphical design of the layouts of all the font and the background layouts is like how your eye gets carried around on the screen it's honestly very impressive. Like it's everyone I've shown it to who has never played really like a Japanese RPG on this level have all said like this game looks like it's just styling. Like that's all it's doing. It's just styling. And like they want to play it just because they enjoy looking at it, the aesthetic, the how clean it looks and how crisp it looks. And I'm not even talking the graphics. The graphics are still kind of fugly. I'm talking about the graphic design, so like the background images, the menus, and all that. Like
the overall, I think you want to say the overall art design, and I know what you mean because I was kind of struggling to define it too exactly.
Yeah.
Just the overall art design, art style.
Art style, but art style would also like go back to like the in-game stuff, and it's like it's not the in-game stuff isn't that impressive.
The graphics are not amazing. They're kind of cel-shaded anime-ish.
The layout of the game is beautiful.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
I think the layout is just the right word to use.
I think the graphics are okay because of how much your eye is caught by everything else, honestly.
Well, it was originally developed for the PS3. Also, remember that this game also came out on the PS3.
It did also come out. Do we have any word on if there are any differences as far as like lag or things like that?
Nobody's playing this on PS3.
That's yeah.
I heard that it was extremely similar.
Oh, really? That's an accomplishment.
That really is.
It's a huge fucking accomplishment.
That being said, I'm worried about how much depth this game actually has. Like it's obviously going to be good. It's people have said hundreds of hours, not hundreds, but like 100+ hours.
Yeah.
To kind of finish everything and do everything without like. Well, I guess you can't really fast forward. This is one of those RPGs you can't really like steamroll through. Seems like it can be longer than P4. I'm hoping it is in some way because it's not like they've added that much more than something like P4.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot more social links than there were in P4.
Are there really? I wasn't exactly sure. Yeah. It seemed like there might be a couple less, but I really don't know.
No, it from what I remember from P4, there are a few more social links, though some of them level up automatically, and you don't have to work on them.
Oh, okay. I can see that. Yeah.
So, take that with it as you will. They're both games that take course over a year.
Yeah, in real time, deciding what you do each and every day.
Each and every day.
No.
Unless the cat decides to tell you what to do.
P4 is over 3 years.
No, it's a year, right?
It's a year.
P4 is a year? Oh yeah, P4 is a year. Shit.
P4 is a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all a year, yeah.
Yeah, they're all a year. It's all a year.
I don't know why I felt like P4 was...
Because P4 Arena takes place 3 years after P4.
Oh, that's right. Is it 3 years? I thought it was just a year after. I can't remember.
No, because Nanako's 16 in P4 Arena.
Maybe in Ultimax. Not the original.
I thought she was in the original.
Not in the original P4 Arena, but P4 Arena is it's sort of canon, but not exactly. So we don't have to talk about that right now, as much as I like it. Talk about P5.
P5's amazing. I loved it. I got the Take Your Heart edition. I'm a little upset with the collector's edition. It's the first time that I'm like really I was really, really, really excited for collectors because I don't buy them often anymore. That I'm kind of upset with collectors, which makes me a little sad. Especially seeing the Japanese collectors, I was like, oh, thanks.
Yeah,
the collectors. That being said, it also wasn't much more expensive than the normal version.
But the Japanese paid
leaves
the
a
same...
leaves a little bit to desire. The art book is kind of cheap. The soundtrack isn't complete.
Like that's my biggest problem is that the soundtrack isn't complete, and the Japanese paid the same amount, the same price that we did for the same collector's edition, though they got the exact same. They got the full soundtrack and a full-size hardcover art book.
Oh, really? Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I feel like the they could have at least given us like the full soundtrack. Like that's the only thing. Like I really wish that they gave you the full soundtrack.
Like the only reason I bought the collectors was so I didn't have to buy the soundtrack separately.
Right. Yeah. So they give you a soundtrack. I think it has like 28 tunes or something like that. It definitely cannot be for a Persona soundtrack or like.
No, I think there's 47 songs on the full soundtrack.
So, yeah, the art book is what, like 40 pages. It's like this tiny little art book. I didn't look through it because I didn't want to know anything, so I don't really know. But I know it was small. You said the bag was cheap.
Yeah, the bag's cheap.
It's not super cheap, but it's definitely not obviously like a very nice quality bag. The plush is cool, right? It comes with a plush of Morgana, which is the cat character.
Except Morgana's a pain in the ass character.
You dislike Morgana? I take it.
Oh my god.
Really?
Oh my god. She's so annoying. He's so annoying. He's so annoying.
You don't actually know.
You do learn later on. You do learn at a certain point in the game. They actually, one of the characters is like, "What the hell are you?" And then he gets really mad and says, "I'm a boy." But I have the same problem. I still call it.
Yeah, well, I guess that was like the whole point at first. It's like I thought it was a boy. It sounded like a young boy.
Yeah.
But my buddy at work, who's also playing through it, was saying that it sounds like a young girl.
Sounds like it's kind of. I think it's meant to be nebulous. In
at
voice.
First, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hate Morgana, and I wish that the plushie was the real world version of Morgana because I think it's cuter than the other world version of Morgana.
I can agree with that.
But
I can get down with that.
Like I understand the fact that Morgana is there so that you don't have the, oh well, you were in the other world all day, maybe you should go to bed. Like instead of having all that internal dialogue, now you have Morgana telling you that.
That is, I didn't think about that. That is actually kind of interesting.
But it just makes the character more annoying than Teddy ever was.
Yeah, I can see that.
I find Teddy to have been more annoying than Morgana, but Teddy did have some funny. You know what? I don't mind Morgana at all. I agree with you. I find it lame that he's the one who's telling you what to do all the time. Like it's too much hand holding. Whereas Teddy was telling you what to do, but it was only a guide.
Yeah.
Morgana, it's like, no, you can't go down this hallway. We don't have anything to do this way. Oh, don't look at this store. That's weird for a teenager to be looking at that. And it's like, okay, like my man can make a decision here. Like this guy is not like an idiot. Like
my biggest problem is
to be a hero.
Touching on the story very slightly, is Morgana doesn't have any memories, doesn't know what the fuck he is, doesn't know where he came from. Yet, he's telling me what to do. Like, with Teddy, he was a shadow.
Yeah.
Like, there's reasons to listen to Teddy. There is no reason for your character to listen to Morgana at all.
But you don't know that Morgana's a shadow or not. Maybe he is. Maybe he's not. You know, you don't know this, because he doesn't know either. At least, that's what he claims. Like, he's like, oh, I don't... No, I think I'm human. I'm pretty sure I'm human. It is weird. I agree. I feel like they could have taken that in a slightly different direction. Like at least in P4, your character made thought his own ideas. I guess you could say like, oh, I should probably go to bed now, type of thing, instead of having Morgana going like, hey, look at the time. You should go to bed. Hey, don't touch that. That's the plant. You should maybe water that. You know, like
Like, I want to go downstairs and watch TV. Hey, you were out all day. Maybe you shouldn't go downstairs. Maybe you should go to bed. It's like,
yeah,
I just want to go downstairs and see what the fuck's going on with the news. Like, that's
yeah.
all I want to go downstairs for, is just to run downstairs. No time's going to pass. I just want to see what's going on the news, and then come back upstairs and go to bed. Oh, no, I'm not allowed to go downstairs. Okay. Glad I bought that TV now.
But the TV you bought is in your room, though.
Yeah, I'm glad I
Yeah.
bought the TV now. That's
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Eh.
But yeah, I guess this could just be me, and I don't really think about it, but it feels like the amount of stuff you can do is it doesn't feel like there's that much to do when you're not in the dungeon. Is that just me?
I don't feel that way.
How far are you?
I finished the first palace.
Okay.
Play a little bit longer.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Because it definitely feels very limited. Like, even for, like, every time I, like, have free time, I'd be like, I guess I'll just go to the batting cages because I can't do anything else. Like, that's what it felt like, which was just a terrible
Wait, really?
You're. Have you seen the fallout from what happens after you beat the first palace yet?
Relatively, yeah.
Has the expiration date that you were supposed to pass the palace by come and passed
yes.
yet?
Yes.
Okay, so something should be opening up for you very shortly.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple things I can think of for you, but well, there are quite a few I can think of that you need a certain level of a certain stat to access.
Yeah, you should be leveling up stats. That's a big one.
But even then, I still feel like there's plenty of people to. I don't know. I'm always, torn between doing a couple things myself.
I feel like I was rarely torn between doing stuff. Like, I felt like I was like, well, what's the best non-wasted way that I can...
Right. Questions for you. Have you visited the doctor?
Yes.
Have you hung out with your best friend
Yes.
multiple times?
Well, as many times as it would level him up right away, yeah.
Have you talked to the guy that's watching you?
Once?
Guy
Is that the guy that offers you the job?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, the first time, but it was like, no, you can't do this now.
Wait,
I haven't spoken to him again.
You should talk to him a few times. Have you taken up a job? Have you taken up jobs in Shibuya?
Yes, and I never did it because it would increase your stats if you work at the what's it called? The first job is not good.
Have you talked to the politician in Shibuya Square?
I have not.
Okay. Have you gone and bought new equipment?
Yes.
Okay. So there's that thing there that happens. Okay. I'm just checking. Certain things that pop up.
Yep.
Okay. You should. What I did before the time passed between when I completed the dungeon and before I saw the fallout was I leveled gut. I just studied in the library to level both knowledge and guts up as much as possible.
Nice.
So that way I could level up 2 other characters'
Yeah.
social links quicker. That's just what I did. But I'm loving the game. I'm loving the game to death. I've barely played this week though. I'm like busy doing a ton of other things and I'm having withdrawal. I'm like
There was a little bit in me that like yesterday when I was like booting up the Shovel Knight expansion to check it out and do the low review thing, and there was like a tiny little bit of me that was like, man, I don't want to play Shovel Knight. I don't play Persona, but I couldn't. But it's that good of a game. I've been playing it as much as I can, which isn't a ton. I'm still behind Chris, but yeah.
it's okay. You'll catch up to me very shortly because like I said, I haven't played at all.
I'm about to. I got to the end of the dungeon, of the second dungeon, and I haven't chosen whether or not to do the thing because I have 16 days left. So
Now I have
That's
a
where I am
question.
now.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys find that Ryuji and Yosuke are very similar characters?
Yes. Yes.
See, that was actually one of my biggest fears, was just like looking at the three starter characters and being like, man, is that just like Yosuke and Chie? Is that just what we're getting
The
again?
girl doesn't feel like Chie.
No,
Not even
not
a
at
bit.
all.
No, not at all.
If anything, she
Or like
feels
Yukiko.
she feels a little Yukiko,
No.
but not really.
Not
Yeah.
re-
She's
not
like
at
a
all,
mixture
really.
of Yukiko and Rise.
Yes. Yes. But the other guy does feel a lot like Yosuke. He has that same feel, that same like, oh, I'm your best friend. I'm gonna, back you up, and I've known you for like 2 days.
They both have that
But
like
that's
weird
fine.
troubled past thing going on.
Yeah. Yeah. It
But
definitely
God,
does
do I
feel
miss
very similar.
Nanako?
See, I feel like he's different enough that he's still, yeah, he's still kind of his own thing. I mean, yeah, like I was saying, I was worried it was just going to be Yosuke again, but then I felt like as soon as he opened his mouth, that I completely turned around on him, just because. Well, he does serve the same purpose, like mechanically and gameplay wise, that Yosuke did, as far as being the best friend and all that kind of stuff. But I still feel like he's very different as far as his personality. He's kind of a dick, but at the same time, it's pretty funny, and he's just always, I don't know. He's always really out there. I thought that differentiated him a little bit, because I thought Yosuke was still pretty. He was mellow, kind of just normal, goofy best friend character.
You know what I think my biggest thing that like really ties Ryuji and Yosuke together is the way they treat the otherworld character. Is like Ryuji is kind of a dick to Morgana, and Yosuke was kind of a dick to Teddy for a while.
Oh yeah.
And it's kind of like character wise, there's bits and pieces that make them feel very, very similar.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like,
They definitely do feel similar. They fill that same role, that same mold. It definitely like you could definitely see the similarities.
I'm not the only one missing Nanako, right? And Junez.
I mean, yeah.
Oh.
But there's some other cool people in this game too.
Yeah, I think there's enough stuff going on that like I don't miss Nanako.
I miss Nanako so much.
What?
I
Well,
miss
so
Nanako so much.
So I've been looking ahead a little bit on like guides online, not to spoil story or anything, but just to like, I started pulling up guides just to make sure I was doing everything right as far as like character conversations and stuff to get the best results. And then just started kind of drifting off and just seeing all of the characters that you can eventually like become friends with. And it was actually kind of really exciting to just be like, oh, look at this person and this person that are eventually going to stand in for these roles. Like, this is kind of cool. So I think there's going to be a lot of variety when the game opens up a little bit more. But it's just building. It takes time.
Yeah, the big thing that I found as I've gotten further in the game is that this game stats play such a more important role than P4 in this game than they ever did in P4.
Like the like guts and knowledge, or
like
like
guts
actual...
and knowledge and all of it. Like to get any character's social rank like higher than 5, you need like certain aspects at least rank 3. And it's like, okay, that's lovely. It's lovely. Because I'm sitting here with like trying to get Ryuji up, and I'm like, oh, it's like, oh, you're not. What is it? I'm not dexterous enough to get Ryuji higher right now. And I'm sitting at level 2, and I'm like, okay, I guess I need to get more dexterous. Time to make more lockpicks. But I didn't realize how important the stats were going to play, and had I known that, I would have spent more time doing that and less time like farming gold in the earlier months.
Did you spend a lot of time farming gold?
In the other place, yes, I did. Farming golden level, yes, I did.
I try to strike a good balance as far as how much I can get away with, but I strike a good balance of how much the game will let me get away with while still being strong enough to not be too much of a challenge. But yeah.
My big thing was in P4 I hit a wall. I hit a wall in the castle in the video game level where I couldn't beat the boss. I got up to the boss in P4, the video game level, and I couldn't beat the goddamn boss because I was underleveled and I didn't have the right personas. And I refuse to let that happen in this game. So that's like my big thing.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I was really worried about was, I mean, putting myself in a hole like you're talking about on, not choosing correctly and properly and everything. But the more and more I play it, it just in general seems like easier than P4, and not like in a bad way. It's just it's just not as harsh. I feel like I'm doing much better in this, managing everything from the get-go than I did in P4. And it just seems like there's little things here and there to make it a little bit easier and to kind of, push more people maybe into playing the game who might not have otherwise, because P4 was hard.
No, I think it definitely has to do with the fact that you played P4.
Okay. You still think it's pretty challenging?
I think
same
all of
caliber
that's
of
still
challenge?
there. My buddy from work bought the game, and he's never played. He didn't play P4, and he actually got game over because he didn't plan accordingly, and he couldn't finish the dungeon on time, and so the game sets you back a week. It gives you a week to kind of try to fix your errors.
I thought it would just say load your game, fucker. That's nice.
So it pushes you back a week. Well, I guess it gives you the choice, right? So he took the choice of being pushed back a week. You lose all the progress you made, obviously, and it kind of just plops you down at some random ass time a week from when you failed. And he said it was extremely confusing because he didn't know what point he was at and what he lost. So
rotate your saves, people. Rotate your saves.
That's it.
Rotate the shit out of them.
Have 2 saves and keep one at least a couple days before.
I just use every fucking slot. I'm not even kidding. And I literally just go down the line each time I save, so I've got like 16.
Oh, I rotate 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I rotate 2, maybe 3 eventually.
I just don't even want to have to imagine having to worry.
With RPGs, always rotate your saves. You never know when you'll hit a dead end.
Yeah.
Like, my biggest thing with Persona is I always save, like, right before I'm about to, like, make a big decision or anything along those lines, because if I make a decision and I don't like the outcome of said decision, I'll be like, no, let's go back.
What? You can't go around doing that. That's cheating.
No, that's how I do it too.
No, it's not, because in Persona 4 you get the bad ending, and then you're like, fuck, now I have to play the whole game over again.
Yes.
Oh yeah, but that's the whole game. That's a little different.
Like in this game, I haven't had to do it yet because I haven't had any big decisions to make. But that's what
you're trying to stop.
And I looked ahead a little bit, not to spoil what you specifically have to do to get the good ending in this game, but just in general, talking about how it's easier. Like there are some decisions you have to make, but it's like pretty obvious which one is the right one, and they're not till like the very end. So as long as you're beating the palaces, you should be fine, is kind of my thing. So I feel like I can afford to be a little bit looser and not super ADD about how I'm spending every single day. And what I'm trying to say is I feel like just because of the challenge of the game, you should feel free to rotate your save. I wouldn't call it cheating, just because when the question of a good or a bad ending comes into play, I feel like you should be free to do whatever you feel like, or whatever you feel like doing in order to get the good ending. I don't know. That's my take on it for those kinds of games.
If this game wasn't 100+ hours long, I wouldn't care.
Exactly.
I'd be like, okay, whatever. I get to play another 20-hour game again. Like Infamous, I don't rotate my saves to get the good ending and the bad ending. I play through the game again to get the other ending. When it's 100+ hour RPG and the good or bad ending rests on me making 3 decisions at the very end of the game, yeah, that's when I rotate my saves.
But you have to make them. Don't you have to make them throughout Persona 4, or like from the midpoint onward?
No,
No, you have to choose who the actual killer is.
that was the only choice.
That's
that
the only
changed
choice that
ending.
changes the ending.
Wow. Okay.
Which I didn't personally like. When I found that out, I was a little disappointed, to be completely honest. But that's fine.
Some of the ones in P5 are definitely pretty interesting. I thought P4 was the same, but there's a few options for endings and whatnot.
That's cool. Yeah, my buddy got game over, and he said like you go back to the interrogation room, and some dude just walks in and shoots you in the face, and he says the game ends. He was like, "What the fuck?"
All right, so we're going to talk the story a little bit.
Yeah, okay, so let's discuss.
Yeah.
We can discuss the story. So this is spoiler alert for those who haven't picked up the game. We've been trying to keep it slightly as much as spoiler free, but at this point, we're going to go into the story.
Yeah, we've only got probably about 15 minutes left in the podcast, so we can jump in the story a little bit.
Yep, go for it.
So how much did it throw you guys off when it threw you into like what seems to be like the end of the game?
I thought it was interesting at first, and then when I realized the entire game, or well, what seems to be most of the game, is a flashback sequence, it was a little disappointing personally, because Persona 3 and 4 kind of just happen real time.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that like everything that you're doing in game is a retelling, well, a quote unquote retelling. It's not an actual, like, you still pick and choose what you do, but your character is telling that story of what you picked and choose. That was slightly disappointing.
I found it hilarious because the idea of you sitting at an interrogation table telling this detective, like, oh yeah, on this day I went out with my friends, then came home and fed my plant and cleaned my room, just seems freaking hilarious to me.
I did not think of it that way.
That is yeah. I didn't think of it that way. Well, I mean, I was gonna say, I actually kind of really like the kind of in media res beginning. You know, starting out what seems like the end, but the more and more it goes on, I'm not really quite. I'm uncertain how much of the game is probably left after you catch up to that point. But I think it's a fun way to differentiate it. It's just a very different way of storytelling, like you said, than Persona 4, and I just appreciate the fact that they tried to do something that was a little different, and but they still felt kind of fit.
Now here's the thing, story-wise, that I want to talk about. At the beginning of the game, you're fighting shadows, you have the mask on, you jump through the glass window, you land outside, and then you're in the real world.
But it's still in the outfit.
But you're still in the outfit. So is the whole interrogation happening in the other world?
No, because they think you're crazy for talking about that other world.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, at the same time, like some line, one of the lines the detective said at the very beginning made me wonder if they actually, like, the government knew about the other world, but then once he starts saying everything and she starts freaking out because it's a total mess, like Chris said, I don't know. I'm wondering if it's like the other world spilling into the real world towards the end.
But well, that's what all the chaos is that they're talking about, right?
Yeah, I think so. I want to assume so, but we've still heard so little about it at this point from where we are. I'm like, you know, I played for about 25 hours. I'm probably like, how many dungeons were there in Persona 4? Because I feel like I've still got a long ass way to go.
9?
Were there really?
Not including the secret ones?
Yeah, was there not 8?
I guess there was technically one for every other character, give or take.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought they'd be like 6 or like 5. Oh Jesus.
Yeah. The other thing is, my thing was that kind of got me thinking, because I know nothing about the story. The only thing that I look up about this game is the answers to the questions, because the translation is terrible and a lot of the shit is Japanese related knowledge questions.
Yeah.
The translation is not the best.
Is we see the detective who's interrogating you talking to who I lovingly refer to as L because I don't know who it is at one point on the staircase. The student after she comes out of the transportation department towards the very beginning of the game. And the kid's like, does it have to do with blah, blah? And she's like, don't speak of that now. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, you're keeping a student overtime, right? Can we have sushi?
I don't recall that.
Yeah, it's
I
at
don't
the
even
beginning of the
remember
game.
that part. I don't remember. I'm already forgetting
Yeah,
a lot
I don't
of
remember.
the intro. It's been so many hours.
It's not the intro. It's after. It's as you're starting to play.
It's after the tutorial level.
Right. It's right after the first big train accident.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Okay. It just got me thinking. I'm really into the story of this game. Like, I really don't trust Igor right now because his voice isn't right and he seems really out of character currently. So I don't trust Igor right now, especially.
He's going through the issues they had with Atlas in BioShock.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
They had a different voice actor, and people didn't trust him, so they turned him Irish or whatever. And people were like, "Yeah, okay, we trust this." They didn't try a different accent on Igor.
Yeah, I don't trust the deep voice. He sounds too demonic. Like, that's not what Igor has ever sounded like before. He's like usually a wily old man, and now he's like deep voice demon dude.
Yeah,
that was what I thought, but I don't even remember what his voice sounded like in P4. That was like 3 years ago.
And his two slaves are very violent towards you too, whereas the
two girls are interesting.
Yeah,
I don't
they're
hate them,
extremely
but
aggressive
I don't know,
towards
they're
you.
Interesting.
Whereas
They are.
Margaret and what was the other girl's name? Margaret and whatever were not violent towards you at all. So
Margaret and her sister Elizabeth?
yes, that's the one. Yes, they weren't violent. Well, they were passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Whereas these two girls like literally just punt you around and abuse you verbally, like no pity.
That's the other reason I don't trust Igor. Is this is the first game Margaret's not in?
No, she wasn't in the other one.
I thought she
Elizabeth and Margaret are two different people.
Are
yeah,
they?
Elizabeth was
Yes.
in P3, and then have you played P3, right?
Yes.
Right, Chris?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the one where you shoot yourself in the face. That's why I made the reference before about the.
Yeah. I haven't even touched that one yet, honestly.
I haven't gotten very far in it either.
Yeah.
But yeah. Does anyone else have any other issues with the story?
No, I'm trying not to make too many assumptions about it. I'm kind of just going in,
yeah, agreeing with what
no
you're seeing.
Going in with no expectations and just kind of we're going along with it for now. So far, I'm interested. I think you were right in that the story spoiler was it Yusuke catching up to you and then giving Anne a job as a what's it called, as a figure to paint is kind of convoluted and a bit much, but I don't know. It hasn't really taken away from my enjoyment of the game so far. It's a lot to take in at every moment. It's just a loud game, visually and otherwise. But no, just loving it so far. I can't necessarily say anything too bad about it until I finish. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I have very little complaints. Nothing really. It's as good as it's gonna get. The budget wasn't as high, you can tell, as like other big games, obviously.
Can you? I was kind of shocked. I don't know. It seems like they put in so much work around the art design and everything. I'm wondering how much money they had for this one.
Well, I mean, the graphic design and the art design is probably not that big of a thing asset-wise. I think, the size of the map, how detailed the character models are, all of that's a lot lower quality than, a huge big title, even though this is a huge title technically
Yeah.
speaking for the PS4 or PS3.
But it doesn't. So far, it doesn't seem to need anymore.
It
Which is
doesn't.
interesting.
Absolutely not. Some of the maps I kind of wish were more open. There's a lot of invisible walls and like little restrictions where it was
Yeah.
kind of wish the city was a little bit bigger because it's PS4. This is not Persona 4 where it's like, it was running off a PS2. Like this area you can explore could be bigger, but you never really like you might complain about it here and there, but you'll never like be like, oh my god, I hate this game because the map's small. It's like that's never ever a complaint. Every now and then you might go like, oh, I'd like to know what's over there. Why can't I go over there? Like it's like there's nothing here blocking me from going over there. I don't want to go over there. And but that's it. Like it's really the map is bigger than P4, so.
I appreciated that they somehow managed to take the time to make unique, like stationary, solid maps for all the dungeons as opposed to the randomized ones in P4. I figured that must have taken a good amount of time. I think all of them are. The first two have been, and it's starting to look like the rest might be too.
Yeah, no. They seem to definitely be, but I'm more so saying like I kind of miss the randomized maps because I feel like the static map is a little boring. Also, currently I feel like doesn't feel like there's quite enough enemies. They don't respawn very quickly. So sometimes if you're trying to grind, it's like your only option is to move forward instead of sitting in an area that you enjoy.
Play long or hollow.
Play longer. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I haven't felt the need to really grind, honestly. I'm kind of coasting as long as I destroy every enemy that comes in my way while I'm like going through the dungeons and then doing the side dungeons. I guess I'll see if it gets any harder as I push farther.
We'll see. I'm not very far, right? I just finished the first dungeon, really.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily either. But
Chris, you're gonna say?
I found the stealth mechanics that they added in kind of seem ham-fisted and not necessary.
They're not. You could literally run up behind an enemy, but it's cute, and it's sometimes it is helpful.
Yeah.
Sometimes it is helpful to quickly just be able to ambush an enemy. But like you said,
it fits the personality of the game.
It's not necessary, but it fits. It's fine.
Like that was my big thing is like they make it out to be like, oh well, you're going to be sneaking around all these corners and stuff, and then I realized like as long as you're in cover, it doesn't matter where the enemy is located near you. Like they could be right in front of you on the same side as you. As long as you're in cover, they can't see you.
I just noticed that last night when a guy literally walked like a few feet away from me, right by me, and just didn't notice, like out in the open, hiding behind a piece of crap. But no, they just don't notice you at all if you're hidden. No matter
if
how
you're in
close
cover,
they are.
it does not matter. It does not matter where the enemy is in relation to you. As long as you're in cover, they can't see you. So I was like, "Oh, that's funny." Like, thanks, game. You pulled the Last of Us. Thanks.
I didn't want to say it, but they did. It's not as big of a deal because it's not trying to be realistic, so it's fine.
Right, because it's like a cartoony game. The other thing that I want to say is that first dungeon is really, really, really long.
It's long and it's surprisingly challenging towards the end.
If you find the safe room at the end, like right next to the throne room, it's not challenging at all.
No, I got there. I was just like some of the other parts
right to that safe room when you go back in and just walk to the throne room and not have to deal with any enemies. Like
when you have to find the 3 special guys to get what are you trying to get? To get all the different keys that go up to the top. I don't know. Some of the stuff was a little challenging, but it wasn't too bad once I got past there.
My biggest thing is Kamoshida was like such a dick, and that palace was like, oh, this boss is going to be a hard boss, and then you fight the boss, and the boss is one of the easiest bosses I fought in a Persona game.
That's why I think it's another reason why I think the game's going to be a little easier. We'll see.
It's trying to ease you into the mechanics. It's trying to be more gentle than P4 and P3, which were kind of very abusive right off the bat. So,
like,
they were.
I don't know. It was good.
I don't know. It was a fun boss battle.
It was fun, if not challenging. How was the second boss?
I can't talk about it.
Nope.
Well, just
only the first.
is it?
Nope,
Just is
nope,
it?
I won't.
Caleb,
Nope.
Caleb,
Sorry,
nope.
Caleb.
We're not doing it.
All I want to know is how challenging
Nope.
it is. Oh,
Nope, Caleb.
fine.
I'm not having Atlas come across this and be like, "Ah, you talked about it." Ah. No. You're really not. We're really not supposed to talk about stories after the first palace. We're really not.
Let's keep it quiet.
Okay, fair.
So, but P5. Let's final thoughts on P5. Let's go around. Final thoughts on P5. Caleb, start with you. Final thoughts.
Final thoughts. It's really exciting to be playing this type of game. You know, where a team made something that was fantastic, and then they get a bigger budget to make the same thing, but that much bigger. It's not something you see often in the game industry, and well, it is something you see often, but it's interesting for a game that's been this kind of underground and still kind of well known in certain circles to have this kind of popularity, and it deserves it. This game is amazing so far. Like I said with Hollow, there's just very little things to find that are wrong with it, and it's incredibly long and incredibly story driven, and there's so much content in every way. It's shocking how much game is there, and it's going to take me a long time to get through this game, and probably a long time to think through how I feel about this game and what I think about it. But I'm loving every minute of it so far.
Hollow, let's hear what you have to say.
No, Caleb nailed it, dude. There's not much more to say. It's a great game. I'm just gonna play through it. I personally still like P4 better currently, but again, like you said, we still have to play through it, so I don't want to judge it too much. It's definitely improvement over P4 in terms of gameplay, mechanics, and all that jazz. It's got, but yeah, only time will tell.
Yeah.
I refuse to rush through this game. I've been beating games left and right in 2017.
Well, the load screen says take your time.
Well,
yeah, it does.
But don't listen to it. But don't listen to that. Don't take your time. My favorite thing about Persona has always been the social interactions. And it's less about I really could take or leave the combat. The combat's not why I play Persona. I play Persona for the social interaction that you have in the day-to-day monotony.
The high school social sim.
Yeah, exactly. And this game feels very, very much deeper than P4 did to me. I think that's because you're a little bit older in this game, and you're seem a little bit more mature, and the reason that you're
a little darker and edgier,
right, and the whole reason that you're living not with your parents is a darker reason. You got fucked over by some big corporate bigwig who was trying to rape a chick. My big glowing recommendation and my big glowing thing that I will say about this game is everybody that's listening to this podcast knows my wife Dawn hates RPGs that are talky and can't stand them.
Yeah.
My wife loves watching me play P5.
Nice.
She'll fall asleep and she'll wake up the next day and be like, "So what happened after I fell asleep?" And for her to ask that about a game that has as much talking as Persona 5 has, there's something there. And I was going to say I can't wait to see where this goes, but I can, because I just want to enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I think, even though we've had this whole episode devoted to it, I think we're still going to be talking about this game, just going through it for a long time as a podcast, and that's exciting. And we'll have to circle up at some point to kind of talk it over, maybe in another episode, spoiler cast, maybe special.
Yeah, we'll probably do a special spoiler cast on this.
Yeah, but that might be in a year. Maybe not that long, but it's going to be in a while though. This is a good, extremely long game, and we'll get there eventually. But glowing recommendation. It's fantastic. You should try it.
If I had to put my money on it right now, by the way, guys, I say that Kaleb beats this game first.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah. I think so. You tend to get less distracted than we do.
You also tend to to kind of veg out on the weekends and just get engrossed in a video game.
Yeah. I'm all over the place.
I've been doing that a lot recently.
Yeah, I know you
it's
have.
nice to just be.
Whereas,
well, I mean, before I wasn't getting much done either, but now I'm getting something done. It's just video games.
yeah,
Happens to me.
whereas me, it's last weekend I was at my mom's house, and this weekend I'm at my mom's house, and next weekend I'm playing Persona 5. And then the following weekend, D&D.
I did just come back from was it a huge work trip, and I was down for a few days. So I don't know. Things happen. We'll see.
Yeah, Caleb's gonna beat it, then I'm gonna beat it, and Hollow's gonna be the last person to beat this game.
Most likely. Maybe not. Maybe I'll turn the tides.
I don't know. I don't know. That would be fitting.
Wait.
We can all finally talk.
Hollow,
about
are you
it.
still playing Heroes of the Storm?
Yep.
Yeah, Hollow's gonna be the last person to beat this game. What about Diablo? You still playing that?
A little bit, not too much.
See, I might be jumping back into that because Seasons just came to consoles.
Yeah, I heard it did.
So,
I'm not playing multiple seasons.
kind of wanted to jump back into that. Oh, all right, guys. That was our Persona 5 talk. If you guys want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to podcast@gamingdeath.com. You can like us on Facebook, facebook.com/gamingdeath. You can follow us on Twitter. Don't follow us on Twitter. It's @gamingdeath, but don't follow us on Twitter. Remember, we're live each and every week on twitch.tv/gamingdeath. If you're listening to us on iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play, make sure you leave us a review. 5 stars, 4 stars, whatever, how many stars you can leave us. Would be greatly appreciated. Make sure you guys go over to geekyantics.net. That's our mothership site to listen to more great podcasts just like this one, like maybe Horseplay Live, which comes on twitch.tv/geekyantics right after our show. But I think that's going to do it for tonight. I'm Chris.
I'm Hollow.
I'm Kyle.
And that's Caleb. Have a good night, everybody.
Peace out.
See ya.
Good show, guys. Good show.
And you're spent.
No, I don't do that anymore. I did that at the end of episode 200.
No, that was the last time.
That was the last time. Because I hadn't done it in a while, and we did a lot of reminiscing on episode 200. And voicemails from Austin, and voicemails from Matt Bradford, and Yogi, and Dawn was on, and lots of technical problems. Yes, John Chie is best girl.
She? We'll see after P5. We'll see.
We will.
No, it's all about Futaba.
All right, homies.
Ooh.
I'm gonna go play some Heroes of the Storm.
All right, have a good one.
Later.
Bye,
homies.
Hollow.
Right.
Bye.
No, Caleb. It is all about Futaba.
See, I don't know. It might be Makoto. I don't know.
No, it's Futaba. As long as it's not Anne.
She's alright.
There's a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm going after Anne. I'm going after Anne. I'm going after Anne. And I'm like, how can you go after Anne? She's such a bitchy character.
Do you think she's bitchy?
I hate Anne. I hate Anne.
Oh, alright. I think she's okay. Don't have really many complaints about her. She
Why don't you go
seems
after
like
Tay?
a Hermione
Takami.
character.
You should go after Tay Takami.
Go after. I noticed you could do that, and I was.
You can romance
shocked, but not
every
that
female
shocked.
in this game.
Oh no! I saw a YouTube video of some guy who got to Valentine's Day and had romanced every single female.
You can even romance your goddamn teacher.
I know. I'm really tempted just for the sake of it. I'm really tempted, but
Have you unlocked her social?
I
Have you
don't know.
unlocked the maid social link yet?
I have not.
As soon as you possibly can, you should, and
How
then
do you-
and then quickly level that up as fast as possible. She lets you cut out of her class so that you can do other stuff
Yeah.
during the day.
Oh yeah, no, I did see that. I need to check how to start it though.
And then once you get her high enough, she lets you cut out of school entirely and do stuff throughout the entire day. And you can also call her up and tell you to come over and give you a massage.
Oh yeah, no, I heard about that. The special massage. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, so you can do stuff at night, even after you go to the special world.
Oh jeez. So this is my I was gonna say this is my favorite thing. Like the dungeons and whatnot are okay, and the battles.
So chat,
the combat's
you're getting extra stuff on P5, by the way, that we can't officially put on the podcast. So if you still want to hear P5 talk, feel free to stick around, because I'm not gonna go off being live because we're still talking P5. We're not getting personal, which is normally when we go off. Okay, what were you saying? I was just letting you know that we're still live too, by the way.
Well, this is one of my favorite things. Like when you finish the dungeon super early and you can just like kick it as a high schooler for a couple weeks and just do all the social stuff and build up your stats, like, and just kind of coast. It's fun. It's a very different type of game.
I started over.
You started over?
Started over.
You started over Persona 5?
Yes, I did.
Wait, like just now?
Like a few days ago.
Why? Why'd you start over?
Didn't like the personas I currently had.
Oh, but that's like 30 hours.
It's okay. I'm already past the first palace.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Shit.
I beat the first palace on day 2. I got
nice.
I got to the treasure the first day that I could, and I beat the boss on the second day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That's kind of what I did for the second one. So, yeah.
You just asked me how the boss of the second palace was.
Well, yeah, like I said, I have like one day. I literally just need to send the stupid thing, and then I can fight him. And I might spend a couple days to chill a little bit first. But, yeah, I haven't actually beaten him. I'm just at the point where I can fight him right now, kind of thing. But I was just curious. You don't have to ruin anything or say anything about it. I kind of was just curious how hard you found it.
Who is boss 2? That's Madrame?
Madarame, yeah.
Yeah, whatever. A little bit harder.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, the first one wasn't hard at all, but
like, make sure you have a bunch of different personas. It's just very elemental heavy.
oh no, I've been elemental heavy since the beginning of the game.
No, like, what the hell is playing music?
What am I supposed to do now? Our war.
Like, she's very elemental heavy.
Oh, the
boss.
Wait, the second
Yes.
boss?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's different body parts, and each part has a different element associated with it.
Okay. Good to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And make sure you have a bunch
I've
a bunch of SP replenishment items.
oh great. Okay. Well, I'll find a way to get some of those. Oh, I can make some coffee. And
Buying stuff
this
in
is so
the
weird.
buying stuff.
It sounds
in,
like we're talking.
what?
I was gonna say, it sounds like we're talking about what we're doing day to day, as if it's our lives, but it's literally a video game.
Yeah. Buy stuff in the video game.
It's the
in
craziest
the vending
thing.
machines.
It's the craziest thing. Vending machines?
Yeah, buy the vending machine stuff. Shibuya Station Square.
Mm-hmm.
There's a vending machine outside Banger Burgers.
Oh yeah.
that sells, it replenishes 50 SP to all party members.
Oh, how much is it?
I think it's 900.
Ooh, that's wow. That's okay. That's actually surprisingly
But
cheap.
I think it's only Monday, Wednesday, Fridays.
All right.
I buy one every time I go to Shibuya.
Nice.
Not that I've had to use one yet.
Well, it is a Friday, and I just stepped out of the dungeon.
Oh, and stop pressing, and don't ever press square to heal.
Really?
Don't ever press square to heal.
Use your jam breads and stuff?
Yeah, you use your jam breads and shit. Because if you press square, you're going to use your SP stuff first before you use your items.
Yeah, I noticed that. And normally it doesn't bother me too much, but I guess if might be better in the long run to just manually heal and stuff.
Especially like when you're like, oh, if I press, like if you're like in dire situations, like, oh, I'm about to go fight the boss, and everybody's just slightly hurt, then go ahead and press square. It's easier and less resource intensive. But if everybody's like super damaged, manually heal.
Okay.
It's a big thing. I'll let you know.
So wait, how far